Hi, I'm Rita. Welcome back to my booktube channel, Life Worth Reading. And welcome to my September TBR, aka all the books that I think, or at least that I want to read this month. I am now back from my little break. Over 2 months. I just posted a video talking you through my reading goals, how my reading year is going, and what I plan for the rest of the year. And now I'm here with my September TBR, which is kind of like a turning point for me. August was also that. I read 6 books in August, which was much more than I've read any other month this year. And I'm hoping that September brings like the back to school, back to business vibes for me, okay? Therefore, this TBR might seem a little bit unrealistic, but we gotta shoot for the stars because I'm trying to turn this year around. I'm very behind on my Goodreads goal. I'm like 18 books behind. I'm not even like 50% done with my goal, and we have like 4 months left in the year. So we gotta pick up the pace, okay? And I think that I'm back from my reading slump. There's books that I've been so excited to read and to get to. And now we're going to talk through those. But first, I actually want to talk about something that's very exciting. In my last video, I talked a little bit about this, but actually by the time that you're watching this video, I'm going to be in New York, which is very strange to say. It is like a dream come true that I'm going to make this trip. I never thought that I would be on it, at least so soon, like me being so young. I never thought that I would go on such a wild and exciting trip, but I am. I'm going on Monday, and Monday, September 4th. And I want to talk about what book I'm bringing because, believe me, I'll be vlogging my trip and I'll be visiting a lot of bookstores there. So I'm trying from the space in my suitcase to fit all the books that I'm going to bring back. So I'm only taking one physical book with me, and that is Just Kids by Patti Smith, which was gifted to me by my friend and lovely angel Tara from the Garden of Tara, and she gifted me this and I couldn't be happier. This is a book like set in New York City. It says here, it serves as a salute to New York City during the late 70s and 60s, and to its rich and poor, its hustlers and hellions. So I am like, I couldn't picture a better book to read whilst I'm there. And also I'm reading this to honor my friend Tara, who has created an amazing readathon called the Dark Academia Readathon, which technically started yesterday, September 1st, and it's going to last all throughout the month of September. And she has all these amazing prompts, like not only reading prompts but live prompts as well. And because I'm going to be away for like 10 days, but let's say that I'm going to be out of business for like 2 weeks of the month, I'm not committing to completing all of the challenges and all the reading prompts, but I still wanted to fit something that was like a dedication to her because of her hard work and how much she loves YouTube and how great she is at it. And I am going to read a couple of books that we're going to talk about for the Dark Academia Readathon, but this is the first book that I'll be reading in September, and I'm bringing it with me, and I couldn't think of a better way to start my trip than to read this book whilst I'm in New York. So thank you so much, Tara. This is going to give me great company, and I love you. Thank you so much. And because we're talking about this, I feel like it's very necessary for us to discuss now the books that would fit under the Dark Academia umbrella and would fit some of the reading prompts that Tara has come up with. And let's talk about those now. So first of all, we have a myth retelling, which I do really want to read, but I haven't quite decided which one's going to be. I thought about Kayaki, because it was a book that was very much talked about last year. It was on a lot of people's favorite books of the year, and it's a myth that I am not particularly familiar with, so it would stray away a little bit from the Greek myth retelling era that has been happening. So I thought about that one, but I'm also open to some of the Greek retellings like Ariadne or Atlantis by Jennifer Saint or Electra. There's just so many that those are all on the table right now, but the one that I'm really thinking about is probably Kayaki. But I'm leaving that a little bit open for a little bit of a mood read when the time comes. Then we have a book about a secret society, and I'm actually going to be reading Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. And this book is about like it says, a coven of witches that is a secret, and they protect the royalty in, what is it, like 1800s maybe? Is it? I'm not sure. But yeah, hidden among us is a secret coven of witches. So it's not really a secret society per se, but it's a secret group of these witches that protect the royal crown. And I've heard a lot about this book. I know that it's duology at least. Like the second book is already out, and she doesn't know it yet, but I'll be buddy reading this with my friend Bia. We bought this book together. She has bought a copy of her own and I bought mine, so we could buddy read this together. And I thought that it would be a great month to fit this in, because it is about like a secret society, and witches feels very dark academia to me. So this is the book that I'll be reading for that prompt, and also a buddy read with one of my friends, which is amazing. Then we also have a classic book about science and history. My brother actually has a lot of books like about history and science, but the one that I have is definitely a classic, and it's Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I still haven't read this book. I bought it a long time ago and I still haven't read it, but now I've just finished the trilogy of the Athena Club by Tara Goss, which features one of the characters, which is Justine Frankenstein, and it just feels very fitting for me to finally read Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, which is such a iconic like classic about science. So, you know, the beginning of like science fiction and horror, and it's just, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to read this book. Like, will I be in the mood for it? But it's definitely on my TBR, because it is the only book I feel like I have that fits this prompt, like a classic about science or history. And I am finally going to give it a try. It's a classic that I should have read already, so I think that I'm going to try this in September. Tara has a lot of other prompts. I'm going to leave the image here. There's also like a poetry collection, a play. I currently don't own a lot of those. Maybe if I see some in New York, like maybe if I see a poetry collection. I've never actually read like poetry in English. I've only ever read like collections in Portuguese, so I think it would be like a great change of pace and a way to change up what I'm reading and diversify my reading. So maybe if I see a poetry collection that I'm interested in New York, I'll buy it. But for now, I'm not going to be fitting those prompts in, because I don't actually have a lot of that in my TBR. So, but yeah, if you want to participate in the Dark Academia readathon, you definitely should. It is a great idea. Tara has put a lot of work into it. I'm going to leave the announcement video in the description, and you have all month to complete the prompts, or do one, or do all of them, whatever you feel like. And it's just a good way to support a creator that has done so much to the community, and her videos are always so beautiful. She puts so much work into it, so definitely give it a try and check it out. And finally, the book that I'll be reading, not specifically for the readathon itself, but it's a Dark Academia book that I'm excited to get to, and that a lot of you will be excited to see, and that is Babel Babel by R.F. Kuang. This is not specific to any of the prompts. I mean, I guess it could for like a secret society maybe, but I'm reading it because it's time. This is giving fall, this is giving September, this is giving October, it's giving back to school, and I want to read one of the most hyped up books of 2022. I bought this during the Lisbon Book Fair in June, so it hasn't been on my TBR for a long time, but I do want to get to it. It's quite a massive book, but I think that I'm finally ready for it, you know? I feel like I'm ready for this book, and I feel like there's no better time to read it than in September during the Dark Academia readathon, whilst not directly being one of the prompts, you know? Let me know what you thought of Babel. Let me know what you thought of it, and if you think that I'll enjoy it. And let me know if you want a reading vlog of me reading this book. I'm not sure if that would be interesting or not, but let me know. Then I also want to talk through 3 books that I have from my library. That's right, they're not a lot. They're just 3. But the first one that I have is Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado. I haven't read anything by this author yet. This is the same cover as the English version. This is translated. And I saw it in my library and I thought, why not? I've always wanted to read something by this author. This is like a collection of short stories about horror, and mostly about, I feel like, feminism and the women, like, universal experience, but mixed with horror and science fiction elements. And I don't know, I'm very excited to read this one. I want to know what it's about. I want to know which one is my favorite short story, and it's going to get me ready for reading in the future In the Dream House by the same author. So I'm very excited to get to this one. Then I also have this nonfiction book that's called How to Read a Writer by John Freeman. I think that's the original name. This is also translated. Let me see. No, it doesn't. But it's basically like this collection of short interviews that John Freeman has done with a lot of contemporary writers that are still alive today. And I'm just very excited to read this and find out more about different authors. Like, I love finding new authors and finding out what they think of books, what they think of writing, what they think of everything. And it also hyped me up a lot because literally the first one is of Toni Morrison, and it has this amazing illustration. And whilst I haven't read anything by Toni Morrison, I definitely want to, and she's one of the most important figures that we have in writing today, and it just feels very exciting to, I don't know, it's just, I love books about writers, and this just feels just like a nonfiction that I'm very interested in reading. And finally, I have Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison, which is a book it's set during the 20s, but I'm actually not sure when it was published, so let me just check it out. Oh, it was published in 1999. Okay, so it's more of like a recent classic, I guess, and it's about the black man's experience in the 1920s in the US. I'm not sure what city it's set in. I know it's like in the South States, but I'm not sure exactly what city or what state it's set in, but it's definitely like a modern classic that I really want to get to. And I remember that this was like one of Noelle Gallagher's favorite books that she read during her master's in literature, and I saw it at my library and I thought, why not? It says the best African-American novel ever. That's high praise, so I'm definitely excited to read this one. Let me know if you've read The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. Okay, and because that is not enough and we need a little spice to this TBR, I'm going to go out and get my TBR jar. It has all the numbers that I have written down on my reading journal, and I'm going to take a little paper out and we're going to randomly select a book from my TBR for me to read in September as well. So let's try to pick a book from this little jar. I have one here, so let's see what that is. That is number 9, which is one of the first books that I have on my TBR. So let's find out what that is in my trusty reading journal. Oh my god. Okay, wait a second. I'm going to go get the book. As you can see here, I think you can see that number 9 is Vita Nostra, which is this book by Marina and Sergei Dyachenko. This book, which is an Ukrainian book. And this is very wild because this is actually one of the only other dark academia books I have on my TBR. And I thought about picking this book for like the dark academia readathon, but then I just thought like, no, it's okay, I'll pick something else. But apparently we're going to be trying to read Vita Nostra in September, which very perfectly fits the theme of the month, I guess, which is very exciting. The font is so tiny. I don't particularly love the copy that I have. I bought this secondhand and I did not know that the font was so tiny, but yeah, we're going to be trying to read this book in September. Okay, so these are all of the books that I'm going to be trying to read in September. We have 7 books here and also a myth retelling. I'm thinking of Kaeki, but I'll let you know later on. I'm still open to it, but these are the 8 books that I'm going to be trying to read in September. We'll see how this goes, given that at least for almost 2 weeks I'm going to be like out of order, and then also I'm going to be starting uni like right as I come back. My last year of uni is going to start, so we'll see how this goes, but I'm feeling good. I'm strangely feeling good about this. Like, I really am. I think that this could go well for me, and it could be like the turning point for the rest of the year. Let me know if you've read any of these books, and if you're excited about your September TBR, which book are you most excited to read during this month? And I think that's all that I gotta say. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content, and I'll see you in my next video. I hope you have a nice day, and always remember that life is worth reading.